Welcome to Living a Triggered Life podcast with Keith
and Roxann, presented by The Triggered Project.
Find out more information about The Triggered Project, go to www.triggered1.com.
And last time we were processing some things with Roxann, and we're going to pick that up and continue with that. And so, Roxann, last time where we ended, you were talking about how you feel when you can't do something you want to do. Mm-hmm. And so I want to allow you to elaborate on that. But I have a question about that because, you know, that's always something that I feel like I hear from you a lot is like, well, I want to blah, blah, blah. And I want to blah, blah, blah. And I'm always like, why is it so much about what you want? Because just doing everything that you want doesn't work for you all the time. It doesn't always work. It's like stuff that we have to do or the things that we need to do, right? And if always going off of want, that is also personal and also exclusive to you. And I feel like sometimes those things push you away from me.
What do you mean?
What I mean is the experience is all about you because it's what you want. And it's not about a goal that you have that I can support you with or has something to do with me, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like us working together as a goal is incredibly important. And it's nothing that we can't do together, right? But sometimes I feel like if you get in a place of that I want, so to speak, then it just stays in I want and doesn't process of go from, well, this is what I want to do. And here's how I'm going to work with this fool that I live with and is my life partner to help me get there.
I don't know. I feel like you're really making sort of a general statement. I certainly have seen and understand there's certain situations where it impacts and where I can get sidetracked by my own wants and not think about the whole of the two of us. Mm-hmm. I definitely agree. There are places and things that happen that, that's absolutely true. And I do need to be checked on that. But the last time we were talking about, you know, the sort of broad stroke of body image.
Right.
And what happens for me around my body image and how I get sidetracked when I'm injured. And we started today talking a little bit about feeling triggered a lot more when I can't do things that I want. And you went right into that it's selfish. You didn't use that word, but what you described as selfishness and self-centeredness.
Yes.
So I guess I'm missing the connection between me talking about my body image, getting hurt, and not being able to do what I want to do, which is be on top of my health.
Yes, well, it's about the want. Getting caught up in the want, right? Getting caught up in those words that I want to. This is I want. And sometimes being blinded in that space and that it becomes sometimes self-centered to the point where it's like, if we work together to make it happen, there's nothing we can't do, right?
Yeah.
And so when you had a lot of success and things like that, what were we doing? We were doing things together, right? Because we had a goal. You had a goal, and
yes.
You put me on it to help us get healthy, right?
Yeah.
Because you wanted to get healthy, right?
Yeah.
You were taking the lead on it, but you know it was what you wanted, but we worked together to make that happen.
Okay.
But sometimes when that doesn't happen, right? Sometimes I feel like you get stuck in just the want, and it's about you. And it's not about us making it happen.
Well, you haven't really been able to participate.
Well, I'm talking before the 2 years. I'm not talking about just the last 2 years. I'm talking about before that.
But what I'm talking about is now.
Right.
Why? So you're going back.
Well, I think it's, but regardless, because I know that I'm challenged in some ways physically and things and some things that I cannot do, but there are things that I can do to be incredibly helpful to you. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and there's other people that can be incredibly helpful to you as well. You know what I mean? That's just the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
Right. But of course it happens, and it happens with me too. We can get caught up in ourselves and what we're thinking and everything else that then we don't do for ourselves in the way that we can.
Okay.
So do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not sure how to respond to that.
That's okay. And I completely understand, you know, I think you've explained it really well of how it's a trigger for you in terms of how you feel. And, you know, a lot of the things that you've been through comes back, right? Is that what you were explaining?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Right. And in terms of the old way of how you saw yourself, just like you said yourself, when I met you, I'm like, you weren't big at all. And you're like, well, in my mind, I was. Right? So it's almost going back to how it was before you lost the weight, not even believing that you could lose the weight and you lost 100 pounds and everything else. It goes back to when you were at your biggest, it seems like, in your mind, and that you can't see all the success that you've had to be able to lose the weight and all the people that you've inspired along the way as well. And that, of course, you can get back to where you were before. Because if you lost 100 pounds, of course, you can get back to where you want to be, because that's not how much you got to lose.
I find it so interesting how this happens in our relationship all the time. So I have major depressive disorder, and, I have more up times in my life than I have down times. But
wait, you have what?
Major depressive disorder.
You ain't never told me that.
I have depression.
You tell me? Oh, that sounded like it was something else. I was like, hold on, is something new that you didn't tell me?
Well, when people are diagnosed with depression by somebody and they bill it through insurance.
Was this a clinician moment that we just had?
Specifically,
you ain't never talked like that.
Major depressive disorder.
Mm-hmm. You never talked about that.
Well, maybe we need to talk about it because
I thought there was just like one term or something. You came up with some new stuff.
What do you mean one term?
You just depressed.
Yeah, but it's a little bit more than that. It has it impacts people in a lot of different ways. Mm-hmm. It's just a way to describe what people are struggling with.
Right.
But my point being...
Okay, sorry.
That you get this very concrete, you just get up and do it. And that's as far as it becomes very concrete, like there's no obstacles. And sometimes people's emotions are obstacles, and they're not something you can just pick up off the floor and fix. Right.
I mean, I definitely understand that. And what is the process of being able to see the positives, though? Even on you say the downtime, but sometimes on the upside, there's still sometimes when it's difficult to see what is possible or what we've done or what you've done or anything like that.
Well, I can't speak for anybody else, but I can speak just for me. Sometimes that's just where I am. And I think my goal is to have less moments when I feel this way. Mm-hmm. Not just be able to push myself out of it because there's, the sun is shining and because I have so much and because I'm in a committed relationship and because I'm loved. Like sometimes those things just don't feel enough inside. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I can't speak on it from a clinical point of view because I can't treat myself.
Right.
What I can say is what my experience is. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I've never really thought about it, but I feel like my goal is really to have less times in my life when I feel like this. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to keep having times when I feel like this.
Right.
And just looking around sometimes doesn't push people out of feeling depressed. Mm-hmm. Just doesn't work that way for everybody. Mm-hmm. A lot of my needs went unresolved throughout my life. This is a lifetime thing.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you feel like in general that, being with me and stuff like that your needs get met?
Yes.
Probably, and then probably pre-sick.
Sometimes you just can't.
Right. And
or you don't. So, I mean, it's just... That's life.
That's probably the realest thing that we both had to deal with and at certain points where, you know what I mean? Because we've always been there for each other. We've always been the anchors and things like that. But at certain times that you don't have it or I don't have it and we have to figure it out. You know what I mean? And sometimes those things are tough. And however, it doesn't mean that you don't love me or anything like that. But at certain points, sometimes we need it at the same time. With being
sometimes
Scorpios
you just need a pause. Like it's just simple. Sometimes you just need a pause. Sometimes you just got to feel how you feel. Mm-hmm. And trust that it's not going to last.
Right. I mean, that's true. There's no doubt about that. And so it doesn't often, too, I think, just the way you're talking about it seems like it doesn't make a difference what's positive. It doesn't make a difference there's light. It doesn't make a difference there's other people that want to try to help you or anything like that. You're just going to be in the place that you're going to be in and try to figure it out.
At least that's what I notice about how I function.
You know what, though? I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'll keep it 100 with you. I think sometimes, you can feel down and whatever, but then you just go away. You isolate and go away and just, put yourself in a corner and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Because sometimes it's overstimulating to be in the world. Mm-hmm. It's just too much sometimes. Mm-hmm. Especially how, you don't have any control how other people treat you or how you experience the world or how people want to behave. And sometimes driving down the street is too much.
Right.
It's just as simple as that. And you just need to sort of isolate in order to be okay. I mean, that's how I see it now, as I have the opportunity in my life to actually have days off when everybody else is at work and be home alone and be with myself, and I have to deal with myself, and sometimes choosing not to deal with myself. Like, these were things that have been happening in my life for a long time. I remembered all through college and high school. And I understand I'm in a way better place, but I just still have these moments.
The thing about it is you feel like you're dealing with these moments like you did when you were younger, or you're dealing with them differently now because you're older and you have a little more knowledge? Or does that not make a difference?
I have more power.
You know what I mean?
In my life.
Because that's the one thing that I see and things like that is I sometimes try to remind you, like, you have more power.
But you didn't see me when this was happening to me when I was younger. So you don't have a point of reference. You just know what you know.
Well, I mean, yeah. And I think my point of reference to you before is incredibly important. You know what I mean? Even 20 years ago and things like that. That's what I draw upon in terms of it.
Yeah, but I was having times when I wasn't showering.
Right.
I wasn't eating.
Right. We talked about that.
So, but you didn't see it. That's what I'm saying.
No,
like,
but
so to see me in that space is really dramatically different than now. Even when I'm in these moments now, in these episodes, I still get up, I still shower. I try to do the basics of taking care of myself.
But you couldn't live in the house with me if you didn't shower. So that wasn't a choice. The same thing with me, because we don't like walking around the house stinking.
It's not about you, but that's correct. We don't do that. That's not there's no choice in being stinky.
You got to wash it behind.
Yes, I know. We both agreed on that.
Yes.
But I'm just saying that those moments of isolation were very different for me than what they are now. I'm in a much healthier place.
Right.
And sometimes I just take the moment, I isolate, I do what I need to do, and then I come out of it. And I get motivated again, and I, start all over again. Back to what I was doing.
Right. Thank you so much for just opening up and talking about this, because I know that I feel like that sometimes. I know there's other people out there, folks that are listening and things like that. And
probably going through the same thing.
And, that's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing this podcast and things. So we can, so people can have conversations. These are conversations that we have all the time around trying to understand ourselves and each other and how we can support each other and things like that. And sometimes you just have to, sometimes you just got to give somebody a hug. And sometimes, you try to give them a hug and, that's not what they want either. So you got to send them a text.
When you're sitting next to them. Like
seriously.
You.
Right. Because, she sent me a text and we've been talking junk to each other the whole time. And so we sent texts back and forth. Actually, I'm going to send you a text right now, actually.
Boy.
You didn't answer. I did send you a text. You didn't answer it.
No, I said something to you about it. I mean, I think I also want to say that for me specifically, my trauma, what has been left over is all around this body image. And the reason why it's all around this body image is because I wrapped my experience of my trauma around my body. Because I used to get so much attention because of the way I look, that I have always felt and believed and thought that if I didn't look the way I looked, that I wouldn't have been hurt. And of course, that's totally dumb and unrealistic. That's not true.
Right.
But somewhere in my brain,
how do we tackle that? You know what I'm saying? How do we tackle that?
I knew that.
I was saying to you the other day, it didn't make a difference. Even at your biggest, people were always trying to get with you and be with you and talk to you and all the rest of that stuff. I don't know.
It's not about what. It's not a.
I understand, but I'm just saying to you, because you were saying before that sometimes when you feel like you get more attention when you're smaller and things like that, it's difficult for you to kind of deal with that and stuff like that. And then you start wanting to hide again. And you feel like, when you're bigger, you're able to hide. That's something
which is totally unreasonable because it's not true.
No, it's not true at all.
And I know it's not true.
It's not true.
But I do. Somehow in my brain, I do feel like I hide more. It's so not true. I don't know. You know it.
It's a
place where I'm still figuring that.
Well, the thing about it is, know it, and do you have the power to be able to make a different decision around that? Because you know it is the question.
Well, apparently not yet, but it's a work in progress. I want to believe it's a work in progress.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, because right now, let's keep it 100. You know, like this is just the one area that you got to take care of. Everything else you've taken care of. You know what I mean? Sometimes
the body image stuff.
Yeah, well, I feel like the weight, but in some ways, I feel like you've changed your narrative so much that like you got to have something that's not going right or something. You know what I mean? Like it's almost too difficult to like just put it all together and be like, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm living my best life right now. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I feel like that with you, like. You're like, well, you know, I can't have everything be great. That's sometimes how I feel because I'm like, you can do this. Like, there's no question about it. I believe it 100%, 200% in my heart.
I know, but you love me.
Yeah, it ain't got nothing to do with I love you.
Yes, it
ain't got nothing to do with that.
It has everything to do with the fact that you love me.
I tell you all the time that, like, I can see you outside the fact that I actually love and care for you. Like I see you. See, that's the whole thing. When you see you someone as a person, I see you as a person.
That's not really true, yo.
Yo, it's true. It's true. There's no question about it. I mean, we're friends. I can see you as a friend. I tell you that all the time. It's not because I love you. It ain't got nothing to do with that. It's about the fact that I've seen you do things and I believe in you, right? And you've earned that. You know what I'm saying? Like I tell you all the time, I call you Roxy 4.0. I mean, let's put it out there. Who goes to get her second master's and graduates with a 4.0? Are you kidding me? 4.0, right? This chick right here sitting next to me lost 100 pounds. No surgery, no nothing, lost 100 pounds. Like, you know what? I'm gonna lose 100 pounds. And then does it. So how can I not believe? You know what I'm saying? How can I not believe? This is the same one that has this childhood trauma and was told that she was not supposed to even be around, supposed to have 15 kids because she's Puerto Rican, right? And comes from the Bronx, right? Was never supposed to graduate from college, was never supposed to amount to anything at all, right? Like that's who we're talking about. And that I've seen be able to continue to excel and continue to beat those odds because those odds are serious. She is not supposed to be where she is right now with that trauma history and where she comes from and whatever, right? Not addicted to drugs. Not on drugs, you know what I'm saying?
Not even alcohol.
Not alcohol, like, you know what I'm saying? And so that's why I say the things that I do. I mean, that's the reality, right? We know other folks in the fam, we know other folks in the same place who didn't turn out in that way, right? Who did not turn out in that way. So that's where I get my belief from. The fact that when I first met you and you inspired me, like, what? Oh, I don't need to be complaining about nothing. I've been blessed. I need to go get it. I need to go after it. I can be better. I can continue to evolve, right? I need to seek more out for myself and be able to do those things. That's why I believe in you. That ain't got nothing to do with love. That ain't got nothing to do with love. That's something that you earned. That's something that you taught me that I needed.
Yeah, those are my best moments.
You know what I'm saying? So
those are my best moments, and honestly,
but you still love those best. But I'm gonna cut you. Because you still live those best moments and you still are doing great things, or you still are inspiring other people to do great things. You got mentees that you mentoring to get them into school and all kind of things that you're doing to be able to help these other people in the same exact way that you were helping me and help me to be able to do great things. But I just love you, so I just think like that.
No, I just mean that you see it.
No, that doesn't make it, but I'm telling you right now, it has nothing to do with love at all.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like that almost discounts what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
I'm not trying to discount what you're saying. I'm just
can you get off the computer, yo? Because it's loud and stuff like that. You still trying to do the damn taxes?
No, not.
That was last episode. Roxann
mindlessly, just be mindless, yo. So, I mean, I know I have best moments. And the reason why I have best moments is because I recognize in those right just before those moments that I can do anything I put my mind to.
There is no doubt about that. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. And you've done that. And you've done that.
There's just moments like now where I can't sustain it and I just don't feel it. And sometimes I feel like I just need to let that moment be what it is.
But you know what though? But that moment can last for a long time. That you want to just, you know what I mean? Like, but that's
it hasn't more recently.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't know if you recognize that, but it doesn't last as long. I get myself going. into that better space and recognizing what's around me.
Okay.
But man, it would be nice to wake up in the morning and fit into my clothes differently. What a motivator that would be.
There's no question about that. But I mean, and you know, I always say like you're in control of making it happen. You can make that happen. There is no question about it.
No, I know I can make it happen. It's just...
And you will make it happen. No question. No question at all. But I guess it's getting, you know, out of our heads and trying to move.
This is real life impact. You know?
Correct.
Real life impact.
There's no doubt. I mean, in the tapes play, you know, it's difficult. It's difficult. I understand exactly what you're saying. I feel exactly the same way, you know, because a lot of great things that are happening right now with us. We got this podcast. We got the Triggered Project, www.triggered1, as in the number 1.com, and a lot of great things. But, you know, still there's some things that stick in the head sometimes. You know, sometimes people don't treat you in the way that you should be treated or want to be treated, and that stuff plays, and you start thinking about it, and all kind of stuff gets in your head.
I just want to say that you have been...
Am I awesome?
And you can be such like the best person to have on your side. So positive, so solid, just like the best person sometimes.
I appreciate that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? We here for each other, man. And that's the thing that I always want to remind you. Like, you may feel like you alone, but you know you ain't alone.
I know.
You're not alone. I'm right here with you. Like, whatever happens to you happens to me. Whatever you feel is what I feel. And you going through something is we going through something. In the same way that I've been sick for the last 2 years or not feeling well for the last couple of years, and you've been going through the same thing with me. And I know that. And sometimes I want to just remind you of that. Like, yo, like we connected, homie. We connected at the hip. We connected at the heart. Our spirits are one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And that's what I was talking about in terms of getting kind of caught up in the I, so to speak. Because it's all about we. It's all about us. It's not about anybody else.
I know, bro.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I'm just glad that I was able to share in a couple of podcasts like what the real world looks like for any of us.
Right.
Because I want people to understand like these moments, they come and they go. They don't have to last.
Right. And I think it's also important that people are having the conversation. They're talking like we're talking about this live. Like we're not playing around. We're being as real as possible with how we're dealing with this situation completely. That's what's important. It's important that couples know that they can have these conversations. And I try to do the same thing. It's not just Roxann processing the way she's processing. I try to process in the exact same way and be able to talk about how I feel. And, you know, for men, a lot of times that doesn't happen, right? We're sometimes not equipped with the tools to be able to do that, but it takes work. It takes commitment. It takes being in a safe space just to not worry about it. Like, this is just how I feel, and not feeling like you weak or you soft or anything like that. You know, it's about gaining strength and understanding that the strength is being able to talk about what your feelings are and to be honest with them and to be able to get support if that's what you need, but just to be real in these moments. So
thank you for listening to Living a Triggered Life podcast with Keith
and Roxann, presented by The Triggered Project.
To find out more information about The Triggered Project, go to www.triggered1.com. And remember, you're no longer surviving, you're thriving in your